This is Island time.
Zach, an important year ahead of you this year, but you're making your 18th appearance here at this event. You've won once before. Just some opening comments on the year ahead.
It's always, first week of school kind of thing. Love coming back to this place. I don't like coming here without my family. That part's kind of stinks, but at the same time, that's part of the job. I love it. I love everything about the golf course, the tournament, certainly what Sony's done, and yeah, I'm excited for the year. I mean, a lot on the horizon. A lot of certainly heavy responsibilities, but all of which I welcome and can't wait for what certainly what the fall will hold. So between now and then, a lot going on, a lot of decisions, a lot of just cool things that'll start to surface here. I mean, for the most part, it's been pretty slow, but it'll start to pick up some steam shortly, and that's a good thing because the Ryder Cup's got some substance. So honored to be a part of it.
With that, we'll open it up to questions. Dave Shedlowski.
Just talking about your golf first before, all the stuff that's going to happen in the fall.
Sure.
What are you working on? What do you expect of yourself as you juggle the things that you're doing?
Had a little, I shouldn't say a little, had a pretty meaty, well, more than one, but a meaty meeting with my coaches over the break, and laid out some pretty honest items, goals, objectives. There was a lot of candid discussion, and I mean, I probably should have said it after. We my first comment. I'm a golfer first, so I want to play good golf. I mean, I want to win golf tournaments, and I would love to make my team and not play. So that's a priority. In order to do that, though, a lot of work has to be done. A lot of work in the dirt, to be cliche, has to be done. So I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I think the beauty of where I'm at right now is that I can my body's still good, and I can still go out and play a full schedule, and still maintain other responsibilities. So that's a pretty unique posture, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for this year. I mean, I've done a lot of work, and more to come.
Are you guaranteeing us that if you made the team on points, you would definitely not play?
No, I didn't say that. I would like to be in the position to have that choice. That'd be a really great problem. It's called what?
Fence sitting.
Fence? Sitting. Oh, fence sitting.
What's the thing you want to work on?
Understood.
What's the thing you're working on the most? I mean, if it's in the dirt,
No. I mean, we've assessed everything. We've looked at we've chewed on stats, we've chewed on numbers, we've chewed on well, even opinions and the subjective too, right? So I think it's not rocket science at this point, but in order for me to play good golf, I've got to drive it really, really good. I've got to hit my wedges really good. Obviously, I got to make putts. So those are my three areas of focus. My practice is set up accordingly, and from there, obviously playing golf tournaments, and I would say courses that probably lend itself to my style of game too is a portion of that. But I feel like I've won on courses I shouldn't win on, and I feel like I've played poorly year after year on courses I could flourish on. So there's if you play good, you play good. So but I love where my team is and the accountability. That's probably the best word we've tried to bring into the mold. I love where that's at right now.
Doug?
I had a couple questions. You're 45?
Almost 47.
Almost 47.
And you talk about health and playing and this, that, and the other. Is it hard not to subconsciously give up on the competitive side of your career, knowing the position you're in, role you're in?
I don't know. I mean, that's actually a pretty good question. I think about those kind of situations. They might enter your mind briefly, but then, I try not to bring the golf course home with me, but golf is always part of my thoughts every day. Regardless of if I've got 2 weeks off, 2 months off, or 2 days off. I mean, it's always entering my mind. So I can't not try to get better at this game. I feel like my mentality this year, in a lot of ways, in a number of areas in my life, is just where my feet are right now. Just stay right there. Obviously, there's great experiences in the past and a lot to come in the future, but I want to relish the time right now. And so, what that means for me is, whatever that could be, right? Whether it's my faith, my family, my golf, whatever. That's where I'm at. I'm trying. That's kind of that's what I'm fixated on every day. So I think going back to your question, I think you can get caught up in that probably, but I'm one that's always trying to get better. I mean, you have to assess, but you've also got to, after the assessment's got to be brief, and the bulk of your percentage time of working has got to be an improvement, and that's kind of where I'm at.
Where are your feet most of the time? Where do they need to be? This isn't a setup question either, by the way.
No. I think my feet just got to be right. I mean, exactly where I've got you plan, right? You obviously put your calendar together. You put your golf calendar together. You put your family calendar together. You put all that together. Your feet have got to be grounded in what you know is to be true. So that's where I'm at. I've got a lot on my plate. There's a lot going on at home. But you balance all of that. Your feet have got to be fixated on what's really important. And go ahead.
Without prying.
Sure.
Why isn't your family here?
Well, I mean, seasons of life. Kids are in school.
Okay.
We've got some health issues in the family that need attention. Fortunately, it's not my wife or my kids, but things of that nature that, just make it circles of seasons of life. That's really where we're at. Yeah, Cameron. Sorry.
So there's always kind of takeaways from a Ryder Cup or a President's Cup. This President's Cup was Jordan went 5-0-0, and Max Homa was 4-0-0, and a bunch of other stuff that you could have sort of taken from it. I was wondering, just because you're in the position you're in, what was the thing that kind of opened your eyes the most about that President's Cup at Quail Hollow?
What opened my eyes the most about the President's Cup? Looking back on it, I mean, because obviously the climate of this game has changed pretty dramatically in the last so many odd months, 12 months, plus months, whatever. The desire for our key players, our top players, to still go out and compete and prioritize, elevate the President's Cup was really what stood out to me. Our best players, in my opinion, the ones that, I mean, obviously those 12 players were our best players, but some of our key players desperately wanted to make the team and elevate that tournament. So that's what stands out. Outside of that, I would say I think the President's Cup, I would say the President's Cup, without question, had a lot of truth behind the cliche that there's great players everywhere and we just don't know all about them yet. I mean, we do. You guys probably do because you see them day in, day out. But the youth of our sport, both domestically and abroad, is exceptional. And it surfaced there, and it was pretty fantastic. I mean, if you're just an innocent, or that's not the right word. If you're just a golf fan and you just turn that thing on and you see the quality of golf that was had on a very, very trying golf course, it was impressive. Whether it was putts, shots, hole outs of 24 guys, it's just amazing what can happen. So, to me, those are the two things that stand out. Our top players want it bad, and the youth and the depth of specifically all around the world golf is impressive.
Find some pairings other than the obvious JT, Jordan.
Yeah.
Max.
Right.
Pretty good pair.
Well, along those lines, another thing that stood out, and it really started to surface, I would say, on Steve's team, called a year and a half ago, right? The individuals that, the young guys, the rookies, or whatever you call them, and then some of our veteran players, the lack of drama that we've had as a team as of late has been very encouraging, and I would say that's a big word, drama, but everybody's there for a common goal, and it was very evident again. Part of that's the leadership. Steve did a tremendous job. Davis did a tremendous job. So, shocker, got those two guys coming with Rome. But, yeah, I mean, my point in saying that is I think we did learn some pairings there, and I think we have a lot more freedom and options. And I think there was more options in Charlotte there were options in Charlotte that we didn't execute that I think could be good too, depending upon the scenario, depending upon the course, depending upon the pairings, the format, the odds, the evens, et cetera, et cetera. So that's encouraging.
In your experience, what creates drama, and how do you avoid it?
In my experience, I think the only drama that I prefer and the only drama I like to see is based on what the golf ball does. Nothing outside the ropes necessarily, nothing inside the team room, or even leading up to it. I think if the only drama that is witnessed is by the shots being had, that's a great event. I would say, everybody's like, well, you got to throw your egos aside. No, I don't think that's necessarily the case. You got to be confident in yourself, but you've got to be dialed in and committed to the ultimate goal of team first. So, team first. I want you to bring your ego. I mean, there's a reason why you're on the PGA Tour and probably had some success on the PGA Tour. I mean, that ego kind of has a negative connotation, but there is a healthy cockiness, confidence that we all have to have, and I think the best players in the world have that.
Yeah, Davis mentioned how close he thought that team was too, that President's Cup team, and given the level of play of the Americans in the Ryder Cup, some of those guys aren't obviously not going to be on this team because they weren't on the President's Cup. We know they've left for live or whatever, but is there almost an idiot-proof aspect of this where you don't have to really think too hard about it because there isn't drama and there are some natural pairings and they are a talented and together group of guys?
Yeah.
Basically, you can't screw this up.
Well, I don't know. I'm not going to say that. I'm fully vulnerable to screwing things up.
We all are.
Yeah, we all are. I will say the continuity that we have from cup to cup to cup to cup right now is something that I'm very impressed with and grateful for. And I think, I think it kind of started, 6-7 years ago, but that doesn't, just because we have continuity and some sort of system does not mean it's foolproof and it's going to result in wins.
Sure.
But I appreciate and I fully acknowledge that there's something to be said about what has been laid, the template that's been laid in front of me. It's systematic, but it's also got, it's not rigid.
Right.
It has some fluidity to it, and it has the ability to take on the personality of the leader and the leaders. So, what's probably the most encouraging going forward, and what we've witnessed already, is that, and I think we see it in other sports too, is every good team, yes, you have a leader that makes pretty instrumental, key, arguably heavy decisions, and a team that supports that, or a cast that supports that. But the ownership of the team successful teams tends to be taken on by the players. And that's what we're seeing. And I really, really like that. Again, I go back to, I'm grateful and appreciative of that because it's their team. You know, I mean, ultimately, I know there's decisions that I want them to go play golf and play the best they can and be comfortable in the most uncomfortable arenas. All the periphery and all the things that weigh heavy on those weeks, I want them to fall on my shoulders so they can be free and go play golf. And we're kind of in that space. Again, it's not perfect because we're all imperfect, but the camaraderie, the chemistry, and the ownership of these players it's very tangible.
Time for a couple more. Alex?
So, can you think of a situation where, because of the captain, either a cup was won or lost?
Oh, because of the captain. No, I can't. I think that's too hypothetical. I will say that there's been some situations where there's just been unfortunate. What's the word? Well, I'll say, since, like I said, 6, 7, 8 years ago, where the players that actually play in these cups have a little bit of say, things really started to take shape and bring about a continuity and a consistency in the system year after year after year. Before that, it really wasn't like that. I applaud, well, certainly the PGA Tour, but also the PGA of America for allowing us. I mean, we didn't have a Ryder Cup committee, 10 years ago. We didn't have, I think there's 3 of us, something, right? There's 3 of us that sit on that committee, along with, the president and the vice president, and certainly, now Seth Watt, right? So those kind of things, those kind of changes have been instrumental in, I think, adding to what I've just said. No, you can never really put the blame on the leadership of the teams because we're all pros. I mean, at the end of the day, we're still hitting shots and we still got to go out and play golf. And, I think it was a caddy back in the day who told me, he's like, a Ryder Cup captain, a captain, it wasn't Ryder Cup, it was actually a President's Cup. A captain can kind of put your players in a good position to go out and play good golf. But it's easier to put your players in a position to go out and play bad golf. And that just means pairings. That means, that's where the difficulty lies. So my job is to eliminate most of that. It's hard to do, but I want to put them in a place where they feel they've got ownership, expectations are met, and they can play free golf.
And the other thing is I know that you were thinking about trying to get players to come over to play the Italian Open at the very least, or possibly come over during Open Championship time and play. Where does that stand?
Yeah, that was discussed at length numerous times. I have not, and I don't think I will encourage anybody necessarily to go out and go play the Italian Open. It's going to be in the spring, and for a number of reasons. I think, well, bottom line is it's not easy. 2, these guys got their schedules already planned out by then, and then 3, I'd say most importantly, is it falls in a week on the PGA Tour that I think everybody holds in high regard, in Charlotte. I mean, a pretty revered tournament. So, nothing against the Italian Open. If they want to go play, that's great. I mean, I think it's fantastic. But at the same time, there's a lot going on here, and we're not going to pursue Ryder Cup points in the Italian Open. So that would be something we don't want to go down, and Charlotte doesn't deserve that. Quail Hollow and everybody at Wells Fargo does not deserve that because that's an awesome tournament. So that's not anything we're going to be doing. I do have a plan, and one that's pretty much, well, it is confirmed. I'll just say that there is a opportunity for those individuals that make the 2023 Ryder Cup to see the Italian Open, Marco Simone, Italian Open, the golf course before the tournament, and come home and then go back.
What is it?
What is it? What is the opportunity? We're just going to go play Marco Simone as a team
What time frame?
between now and the Ryder Cup.
We'll go down.
You may recall this. I'll add something to that. The one time, my first Ryder Cup was 2006, and I can't remember specifically what week it was. I just remember Akron was around that time, the Bridgestone or whatever it was. Was it after Akron?
Right around Deutsche Bank too, right?
I don't know.
Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, the point is we went. Maybe that's right because Deutsche Bank started on a Friday. That might have been right. I remember leaving wherever we were, going to Ireland for 2 nights, 3 days, hanging out as a team, playing, and then coming back for a month, and then going back. That was awesome. Those 3 days were amazing. Yeah. Yeah,
Jeez,
you're
Alex.
asking. That's such a bad mean
Wasn't that
question.
the? But wasn't
That's
that
an
the
awful
year?
question.
Wasn't that the year that Tiger took all the rookies to dinner and actually paid for it?
Yeah, in Akron. Yes, it was
Diamond
actually paid for. What's that mean? Jeez. He's a pretty generous guy, as far as I can tell. Jeez. Actually, one of my favorite restaurants on the PGA Tour, too.
Diamond Grill.
Diamond Grill. Miss it.
Cash on.
I guess it's, 3 years away from me going back there, potentially? Or having the option. It's fantastic. Everything about it. But, yeah, it was me, and there was like three or four. There might have been 4 or 5.
Wederick, J.J. Vaughn.
There you go. Maybe one other, too. I'm not sure. But all of us rooks. Yeah. It
And
was
Tiger
awesome.
paid.
Yes, Tiger paid. With
Last one.
cash. No credit card there.
I know that. I got caught once. Someone else paid for me. We've talked about this in the last couple of weeks or so, but your thoughts on the atmosphere at the Champions Dinner this year, with so many different, with 6. guys who
This
are-
coming
who are
spring.
live, yeah. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if there's anything in our sport, in sports in general, but in our sport that completely defines class and grace, it's the Masters tournament. So, I still relish each and every year when I get that invite. I still relish every opportunity to go sit at that table on Tuesday nights. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I can't wait to go. And those that are not playing out here and playing elsewhere that can sit at that table, they've earned that right. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just saying they clearly earned that right.
Would you expect that the one guy at the dinner who's not won the Masters would encourage everybody to remind him what the dinner's about?
Wait, say that again?
Do you think Fred will send out a note or
the
get in
one
touch
guy.
with the players and
I
just
am
remind
not
them
going to speak on behalf of Augusta National nor Fred Ridley. That's not for me to say.
Alex,
I can tell you this. Every time we sit down and Chairman Ridley's there, it's sincere that he is grateful that he gets to sit with us because, as he keeps stating, we invite him. So that's a pretty cool tradition that Mr. Hogan started back in the day, and obviously one that Augusta National and certainly that chairmanship respects and admires. So
this would be a good time to ask Zach if he'd rather go to the dinner or play in the tournament.
plan the dinner.
Well, you're going to be at the dinner many more times than the tournament. Which one would you rather go to, the dinner or the tournament?
I don't understand what your question is. Would I rather go to the dinner or play in the tournament? Yes. You know what? You get a smart aleck answer after a smart aleck question. Chef? Adam?
He looked at me like I was crazy, which you are.
Yes, I want to play in the tournament. Of course I want to play in the tournament. No, that's fair. That's a fair question. Nah, I mean I've pretty much sat on the same side of the table. I think all my my tenure there. But no, I mean like who I've sat between has probably varied to some degree. But I mean there's an area that
Jordan wouldn't know where to sit if you were there.
Jordan and I sit next to each other every time. But that hasn't. I mean, when did he win the tournament? 16? 15. Okay. Yeah.
Which on the left side, the right side?
Yeah. Well, there was at least 1 year, maybe there's 2 years, right when we were in a different room.
COVID year, maybe?
It was COVID year, but maybe twice. Because I think it was twice. I think it was Dustin and Tiger.
Has it gone from like a U-shaped table to back to one big table?
That's what I'm saying. Like when it was kind of a different shape, I think there was 2 years there. I can't remember. And now it's just the one big table. Yeah.
Zach,
Sir.
back to the Ryder Cup.
Thanks, Adam.
Is there too big of a home field advantage?
Is there too big of a home field advantage? Can you elaborate?
Well, U.S. hasn't won over there.
Oh, in that regard. Well, I mean, there's a lot of beautiful aspects to this tournament, and I think that's one of them. I mean, I love, personally, and I would say almost selfishly, I love the fact that it's difficult to win over there. Extremely difficult to win over there. I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, yes, if it was my turn to represent our team here, I would certainly take that upon myself if everybody saw fit. But if I had my choice, I would want to lead a team over there.
Why?
Because it's so difficult. I love difficult situations, brother. I love being uncomfortable. I love proving everything wrong. It's just the way I'm built. It's the way I'm wired. The way I see it, those kind of scenarios are just I love. I keep saying it, but I love the word opportunity. I think I don't know if there's more motivation, but I'll say this: when I turn on the TV and none of my teams are playing or whatever, I'm still going to watch sports, and I want the team that's not supposed to win. That's what drives me. That's what gets me going. I like the buzzer beaters. I like the Cinderellas. You know, the Butlers and what was this team in Chicago with the Loyola? Those are the kind of things that just, man, it gets me riled up. So, yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you know, there's other pillars there. I love the fact that it's just difficult.
Do you relate to those type of teams more?
Probably, yeah. I mean, it's not like it's. I mean, I don't know how parallel they are, but I mean, you know, it's a substantial difference between a team and certainly what I do, but what I've done in my career. But yeah, I mean, I'm not supposed to be necessarily sitting here, you know. So,
What's the guy who's number one on Drake doing right now?
well, yesterday he was texting with me, so he's living his best life. He was a brilliant kid. I mean, you got to be, with the exception of myself, to go to Drake, and another exception. I know he's an alum. Not very proud though, is he? No. He played professional golf. Number one, he won. Oh, I don't know, upwards of a handful of times in the Canadian Tour. They're about a bunch of mini tour events. We used to travel together. We used to live together post college. He's got 2 kids, great kids, and a great wife, and probably plays really high amateur golf occasionally, and has a great job. He's doing great. He was one of those rocket surgeons, you know, in the head kind of thing. Yeah.
Can you explain why, after your win at the Open, you've kind of not actually, I would say, fair to say, not had your best game?
Well, that's a hard answer. I mean, I think I had not a handful, but certainly numerous opportunities to win golf tournaments. A couple where I probably should have. You know, that's the way I look at it. Some mishaps there, but there were some mental things involved there, certainly. And I kind of actually mentioned it earlier. I got mentally fixated on assessing where my game was and assessing what was in my golf bag, assessing what I'm doing, practicing, rather than just doing the work that I know will transfer onto the golf course. And so I've shifted my brain, my mind out of that mode into a mode of complete improvement practice. Not getting stagnant, not getting content, and I'd say not getting into that maintenance mentality rather than just continuing to trying to improve. I mean, that, and I don't play as much as I used to. I mean, I've got 3 kids, and again, going back to my priorities, I got to be at home more, and that's fine. I remember having a couple conversations with Steve. I never really implemented the Steve Stricker model, where I don't know how many he played for 3 or 4 years there, but it was very few. I tried that one year, and I played very poorly, so it just doesn't work for me.
Do you take anything out of that you'll apply this fall?
You mean
What you kind of
what I've learned?
yourself?
Oh, I would hope so. I mean, I think I'm going to take all of what I've learned throughout my career, good and bad, indifferent, and apply it ideally. I think so much of what my role is now as the captain, I'm going to rely on what I've learned at these cups. I'm going to rely on, the communication aspects, the laying out expectations, keeping things transparent, and keeping the lines of communication open with these guys, because that's what's important. I think, and my team would say it, going back to that word, I think the communication really didn't cease, but it was not a priority within my team, coach to coach, and then back to me, and just how that works. So that's where the accountability and the transparency comes in, is because and it's my fault, because I am arguably the CEO of my team. The communication was lacking for whatever reason. I just kind of got caught in the mundane.
One last thing,
Mm.
sorry, Rachel. So obviously, it's early,
Mm.
very early, and
Mm.
I know that when you mention Tiger Woods, everybody gets all excited.
Mm.
Tiger will probably maybe play 4 events, 3, 4 events. We don't know.
Mhm.
We don't know for sure. None of us know. I
Mhm.
don't know if he knows even, actually.
Yeah.
If he got to a point where he thought he could be beneficial to you and your team as a player, and he hadn't played anywhere near, enough events to even come close to a points thing, would you contemplate picking somebody like that?
I would only contemplate having him on the team if he felt if he was putting up some numbers and some scores. Number one, where he's showing some sign of being competitive, and then number two, that discussion would be had with the other guys that are a part of that team, and specifically him. If there's anything I trust in Tiger Woods, is that he's extremely invested in this team and the future cups. Extremely invested. I can't speak that enough. And then I think he would do anything and everything for the betterment of the team. So he would say, I would assume he would say, I don't like basing on assumptions, but I'm confident that he would say, yeah, I can play, or no, I can't, if that makes sense. Now, from all accounts, and we're communicating with him quite a bit. Actually trying to get a phone call here shortly, but nothing of any substance. He's a part of the team. It's just a matter to what degree, right? Another piece of that is this golf course that we're about right. Well, you've seen it. It is not. It's fun in a golf cart. It is not. I don't think it's going to be a whole lot of joy just walking, because it's extremely. It's definitely hillier than Augusta National. So,
Thanks,
sure.
Zach, for the time. Appreciate it.
My
Good luck this
pleasure.
week.
Go America.